Good, Rachel? Working?
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's concert. This is the 2022 winter concert for the SWGHS High School Band. We're going to start with the jazz band, and our first tune up is Naima. I gave up on the wireless microphones, just gave up on them. So I'm going to steal this one back and forth. So that was Naima. It's a classic John Coltrane tune. It's a great feature for tenor sax. Mr. Avery Beckham, let's give him another round of applause on that one. So our next song is, we had to do something holiday, Christmassy on this concert. So our next song is going to be The Christmas Song. And we're going to feature Mr. Blake Davis on trumpet on this one. So here we go. He wants me to tell you that he's playing the flugelhorn, which is kind of a fat trumpet. I mean, we're going to be realistic about it. they just love the microphone being pointed right at them. It's the best. So another round of applause for Blake Davis on that. As cheesy as it is, that's actually one of my favorite songs that we played here and that I've played just in general, Christmas songs. It's one of my favorites. So our next tune is kind of a scary one for me to put out there because it's tough. It's a really, really difficult tune. You see in your program, the name is Moanin' by Charles Mingus, and it is a bear of a piece. And I've only brought it out once before, and it was when I had a parent who played bari sax professionally, and he came out here and played the bari sax part, and that was scary enough. Mr. Rob Yingling, if anyone remembers him. But he just monster of a bari sax player, and I didn't have any concerns about playing that piece when he was around. But now I've got two bari sax players that I have some confidence in. They're both very solid players, and just in general, this piece for everybody is a huge, huge challenge. So we have several soloists that are going to be on this one, and I got to write them down, or I forget. You get mad at me. So Jeremiah Sproul is going to start us out. And then we're going to have Avery Beckham and Sophia Wittenberg kind of trading back and forth in the middle. I forget anybody? Great. Oh, and Giselle and Max also have a little solo. They're kind of in the middle of a lot of craziness going on, so you'll listen carefully for them. So, here's Moanin'. And a special shout out to Mia Marquis for being the microphone. They didn't practice with any of that. They just kind of winged it, the microphone did. So, like I said, that's always a scary piece to put out there, but they nailed it. I think they did a fantastic job. One more round of applause for the jazz band. I am very blessed here at Southwest to have an immense amount of talent that's willing to come at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, before school every day. And it's not without, I know that I am very blessed with this because not every school has this. I think maybe 3 or 4 schools in Guilford County have a jazz band that meets regularly as a class, and we are extremely, extremely lucky to have the kids that we have, with the talent they have, and the dedication they have to be here. So one more time for the jazz band here. So please bear with us while we change the stage. I'm trying not to feedback. While we change the stage, our percussion ensemble is up next, and we're going to try and get this done in less than 3 minutes. Let's go. I think they did that pretty quick. Is that under 3 minutes? Should I give them the day off tomorrow? I think jazz band deserves a day off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So as percussion finishes setting up, I just wanted to say a big thank you to parents that are out here tonight. I know Thursday night, right before we go on break, is a tough ask. But the kids appreciate it. They've been working really hard for the last 9 weeks to get this. We actually, looking at our first concert cycle, when we did our fall concert, it was about 45 days to get that concert together from when we started to when we performed. And then when I started looking at this concert, we had 22 days to go from that concert to today. So it was kind of a scramble once I realized I went, oh no, did I pick the wrong music? And I don't think I picked wrong with jazz band. I think they did a fantastic job. So we'll see how we did with the rest of the band. But while they're finishing setting up, I do want to say a quick thank you again to the administration here at Southwest. They do a lot to help support us and to keep us going. We are one of the few high schools, if not the only, I haven't really done a survey of this, but one of the few high schools in Guilford County that has all of the arts areas available. So we have band, orchestra, chorus, we have theater, we have dance, we have visual art. So that's not the norm around the county. There are schools that don't have dance. Many of them don't have dance. There are schools that don't have theater programs. There are schools that don't have chorus programs. And many that don't have orchestra programs. So we're extremely lucky here at Southwest to be able to showcase the performing talent of our students here. I think they rise to the occasion in a lot of ways. And usually last minute. So some of them don't even know we're going to perform. The marching band students are going to perform tomorrow at a pep rally, and some of them don't even know yet. So they'll figure it out, and we'll get together and do it. So they seem to be wrapping up here, and once they do, we'll perform. So give us just a few more minutes. is the Percussion Ensemble. It's a collection of 9 percussionists. Being a percussionist myself, I find it boring to be in a concert band. So like what you'll see come next, the parts that they get for being in a concert band are very minimal, not very difficult. I can't stand still because I'm ADD, so I gotta move. The parts in a concert band are very minimal for percussion. They don't really get much, and I had to do it 4 years of college and however many years of middle and high school band, so I kind of sympathize with them a little bit. So I pull them out of the concert band into a separate class so that we can work on more specific skills, develop them in different ways, and then we can play something that's a little more interesting for them, at least sometimes. The first piece, and actually this group has done really well this semester. We've gone from kind of beginner level stuff and we've pushed on through. A lot of these students were not comfortable at all on mallets to begin with, and they've grown into performing on mallets tonight, you'll see. I think everyone in here plays on mallets at some point except Walter, because he auditioned on mallets. He's fine. He was one of the ones I was like, you don't need to play mallets. And we moved on with that. So our first tune for Percussion Ensemble is called Imminent Launch. For them is actually getting back in the holiday spirit a little bit. They're going to play Carol of the Bells, but you'll see with percussion comes a lot of moving things. It kind of becomes their second job. They have to move equipment here and there. And this class actually meets at the same time as a chorus class does in Miss Butler's room, and there's very little insulation, like sound dampening, between the 2 rooms. So a lot of the time, we can't practice in the band room. So when we get the chance, we move our equipment over here to practice for the day, and then we have to move it back into the band room over and over and over. So they get really good at moving things. And I'm all about child labor. I'm fine with it, personally, as long as it gets things done. As long as I'm not the one having to lift things, I'm perfectly fine with it. So as they're moving things, you'll see they kind of transition very quickly. They have their own little jobs. And then you'll see when we finish this tune, they transition from here to setting up what we need for concert band. That'll come up next. They get the equipment that we need, and they move it right back to where it needs to go as quickly as possible. So bear with us for another moment while we move stuff around, and then we'll play Carol of the Bells.
while they're doing the last of the final things, I did want to shout out one student. I am going to kind of recognize the wind players a little later, but I wanted to recognize one of the percussionists auditioned for all-county band. Several percussionists auditioned, but one percussionist was accepted into the all-county band and then was also then accepted into the all-county orchestra this semester. Mr. Walter Bowles. As a ninth grader, got accepted into the 9-10 all-county band, which is fantastic. But then also got pulled up into the 9th through 12th grade all-county orchestra. So that's very big stuff. So great job, Walter. Very proud. I'll shout out the wind players and embarrass them individually later. Okay. So here is the Percussion Ensemble's last tune for Carol of the Bells. The applause and then move, so we forgot that one. So that's the Percussion Ensemble. They did a fantastic job. One more round of applause for them. We'll give them a second to kind of get things moved out of the way before the swarm of concert band comes on the stage. So I did want to point out, and some of you may have noticed, that I haven't conducted really at all, and that's on purpose partly because I want to teach them skills of counting and playing in a small ensemble, and even jazz band. It's not really necessary for me to conduct, but also partially because I'm kind of lazy. So I don't really want to if I don't have to. But you'll see in the fourth block band, I really do need to conduct because there's too many of them not to have somebody in front of them. So there's still a lot of keyboards up here in the front, fellas. Gotta move some stuff. There we go. Okay, so bear with us for just a second, and then I'll get the band up here, and then that transition should happen very quickly, band. Yeah, not yet. I didn't take them yet. don't need y'all stampeding over the percussion yet. Just give them a second to get out of the way. Okay? Give 1 second and I'll get you guys up here. All right. Please bear with us as we transition one more time.
No, there's none. There's no, the first time that's his son was Yeah, that's what we're supposed to play with, but it was going to waste. We even tried to rehearse before. Let's go over it. And then now you can be like, and then when we be all the way after that was way more slow. We were looking at it, why are you going?
Transition's always fun. Okay, hope you guys liked our tuning chorale that we start out with every day of class. Especially that one note, that one chord is my favorite. It gives them a chance to kind of play some nastiness, get it out of their system, but it also resets their ear. So we get them all in tune, we go section by section, and then we play a chord, we build a B flat, we build a chord out of it, and then they just play a nasty note, because it resets their ear when they come back. So if you sit on it too long and it's in tune, you get complacent and they don't listen anymore. So we
play the nasty notes to make them listen again. Okay. Our first tune tonight is to kind of get things started, is an old classic. We've already played one version of it on the concert tonight, but it's Ukrainian Bell Carol. It's always fun to start out with a big, powerful, articulate piece. And what I want to point out is, I said a minute ago that the percussionists are all pulled out of this class. So every day, it's just the wind players, day to day, and the percussionists are separate in a different class. So they learned this music separately from the band, and only the last 2 days have I pulled them and asked their teachers and begged and gave favors and whatever I can do to get them to come into my fourth block. No, you're fine, I'm just kidding. So begging favors, getting them to let me have these 6 or 7 students during my fourth block to come down to me the last 2 days so that they can put it together with the band while we're on stage. So percussion's doing a fantastic job back there, for what we're doing in this concert. So next up is, I can't do too much holiday music. I get bored. I gotta do something different, right? I hear it everywhere all the time. On the radio, going to the stores, I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. So we got to play something different. This is called The Great Locomotive Chase. This is a fantastic piece. I love doing this one. There's actually a really cool story behind it. I'm not going to bore you with it the way I did the students, but it's about 6 pages of 2 columns, very small font in the score, and I'm not going to bore you with that. But the short of it is, during the Civil War, there was a Union battalion that decided that they wanted to really stick it to the Confederates. So they snuck down the Confederate territory all the way into Georgia and stole a train of supplies. And then started away with that train, and as they were going away, destroying the tracks behind them. So they couldn't catch up to them. And there was a Confederate battalion that was following them that on foot,
trying to catch up until they commandeered a train and started following. So it's a really, really cool piece, a really nice story. If you ever want to look it up, just look up the name of the piece with the composer, and you'll find a book that you can read about it, which is lovely. So this is the Great Locomotive Chase.
like I said, that's a fun one. I told them a story the last time I did that piece years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, the last time I did that piece, and it was so hot, and it was at the end of the concert, and I was conducting so hard that I was sweating bullets, and ended up sweating down my arm onto the baton, onto the end of the baton, and at the end when I'm flicking so hard, I was throwing sweat onto the flutes, specifically, and they were like, oh God, please no. I was like, don't worry, that's why we put it on the winter concert, so I can open the back doors, it's a little cooler in here, and it's also not on the end of the concert, so. You're welcome, flutes. So we've done 2 really fast and articulate and loud pieces. So we need to slow it down a little bit and do something a little more lyrical. So there's 2 sides of it. We can play high, fast, and loud all day, but that's what marching band is for. So we really need to work on our tone and intonation and sounding good as a band, playing slow. So the next tune we're going to play is Chorale from Jupiter. If you're not aware, that Jupiter is one of many movements of a suite by a man named Gustav Holst, who is long dead. He wrote a suite of pieces for orchestra, symphonic orchestra, based on the planets. So there's Mercury, there's Venus, there's Mars, there's Jupiter, and it keeps going. Each of them in and of itself is probably 30, 45 minutes long, some of them. So playing one is fantastic, it's enough. And this is even better because it's only a little bit of the Jupiter movement. So if you're ever inclined, you've probably heard this before, if you're not already aware, but there's a lot of fantastic music out there. So trying to expose them to a little bit of music that's not just for band. This is a classical music breath. Okay, so our next tune is Chorale for Jupiter. So, like I said earlier, I do need to shout out some students and congratulate them on some hard work they've done. So students, as I call your name, stand and be recognized. These students auditioned for and were accepted into the all-county band. The auditions happened back in November, And then the clinic was at the beginning of December this month, and they had a fantastic time. 9th and 10th grade students got to be under the direction of one of the greatest band directors in our county, Mr. Jeremy Ray. And then the 11, 12 students got to be part of something really special. They had a commissioned piece that our county had put together for a former band director who passed away, sadly, several years ago, Mr. Charles Butler, who used to be at Smith High School. And the commissioned piece was in his honor and his memory, and they had the chief arranger for the A&T marching band compose the piece and then come and conduct the clinic. It's a fantastic clinic. They did an awesome job. So 11th and 12th graders got to be a part of that amazing experience. So I'm going to call out their names. This is in alphabetical order by last name. So stand when you're to be recognized. Mr. Avery Beckham, Walter Bowles already called out, Trey Campbell, stand up and stay up. Okay, Trey Campbell, Amy Cho, Ellie Fulliser, did I get it right? Say it again. Fusilier, never actually heard her say it out loud. Ava Gwynn, Andrew Henson, Adam Holland, and Remy Sharp. Please stand to be recognized. Y'all can sit down. It's always awesome to see these students do a good job because I don't do anything to get them into the band. I hand them the music and say, this is what you have to do, go do it. Some of my older students I just saw that have graduated since are shaking heads and smiling, that I don't really help you with it. If you ask me questions, I'll be glad to help you. But I put it on them. If they want to get in, it's on them. So they get the music, they get the scales, they work on sight reading. I give them the tools to succeed, but they're the ones that have to do it. So I'm always very, very proud of these students that make it into the ensemble, to the all-county band. So I'm very, very happy to have those students in there. So thank you for making me look good by working so hard. The next thing up for them is the exact same criteria for the audition as the all-district band. Now, that's a little tougher because it's not just Guilford County schools. It's including everything from Randolph County up through Rockingham and then east and stopping at Wake County. So including Orange County and Chapel Hill city schools and like all these crazy band programs on much higher competition. And this year I think we have a record number of students auditioning. I have 14. Raise your hand or actually stand up if you are signed up to audition for the all-district band. So I'm very proud of the students that are and again, I'm not helping. I'll be glad to if they need it. If they would like my help, I'll be glad to help them. But I don't think any one of them, besides, I think some of the percussionists have asked me about it. I think I broke it. Okay. I think some of the percussionists have asked me for like little things here and there, or I've like seen them doing it, and I'm like, hey, by the way, you may want to do this instead, and then they do it, and it's fine. But I don't give them a whole lot of attention on it, okay? It's all on them. So super excited to see how they do. Those auditions are the first weekend in January 7th, I believe. And they've already been given their audition times and windows that they can do. It's at Orange High School, all the way in Hillsborough, so that's kind of a hike. But I think they're gonna do fine. Our last tune, I tried to get Miss Limble to conduct it, but she refused. You said no, that's refusing. Don't look shocked. But our last tune is a tradition. I do it every year. Every time we get to this concert, I do the same tune. Our last tune up is Sleigh Ride. did that. He wanted so desperately to do that, and he did it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, he's begged me for 4 years to do that. I finally caved. So that's our concert for the evening. Thank you so much. Please give your students a moment to pack everything up, because everything goes back to the band room. Yeah? Everything goes back to the band room tonight. So give them just a minute to pack everything up, and I'll release it to you. Thank you for coming.
The fall one I came. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. He's in all 3 or percussion. Yeah.